And a very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube, our home away from home on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4. Dear Goon, whatever could we be talking about
I
today?
I got like a half hour in me, then I got to go. It's just there's nothing to talk about. I just cannot think of anything to talk about.
Well, I do want to start, and we'll certainly get into the coaching
Oh yeah,
search and where we think that should go, could go, will go, all of that stuff. But I do want to start with just, do we feel like we have any sense of how this thing went so haywire so quickly? Because there has to be something right underlying here that led to this.
what you're talking about is like I'm going to mention something, and you're talking about. I'm like my thing is like I have been stuck on this like holy crap. This 15 days ago. James is sitting on the dice at game day with Nick Saban in a Lion uniform, and it's all ready for the whiteout. And then 15 days later, he's out of the job.
Yeah.
Now, what you're going to get at is we just did not see it the season. So it wasn't just these 3 games or no 15 days that changed the trajectory of this team. It was going back to August 30th against Nevada. Something I don't know. I am. We talked before the show, me and Jeff, and I'm at a loss because I have no idea why our offensive line has regressed so much. Our running game has regressed so much. Our quarterback had regressed. Our wide receivers, we had new ones. We thought we had some better ones. You knew you were going to take a step back with the Warren going into the Colts, but nothing else was really different. And what that is the $1 million question, or $50 million question, is what was haywire to start the season, and why it never clicked.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to know, and it might not be a single thing. It very likely is a bunch of different things that came together, and it is really perplexing though from the outside looking in, because, and listen, I mean, there have been teams over the years, both at Penn State and just all across the country and different sports even, that it's like, man, look out, that team's going to be so good next year, and then that year comes and it's like, oh, that team was not very good that year. The 79 Penn State team is always stands out to me because they just returned so much talent from that 78 team. And again, there were some things there, though. The Matt Millen, Joe Paterno situation. I mean, there were some indications that, all right, this maybe isn't meshing quite the way you'd be hoping. But when you look at this season, at least, again, from the outside looking in, that we know of, there weren't any off-field issues, nothing like crazy that would raise red flags about the overall status of the program. It from what we know, there weren't any great clashes with like you had in that going into that 79 season, any great clashes with individuals or coaches. I've been asking, and it's just a genuine question about the leadership, and really I hadn't thought that much about it until somebody else brought up, is it not weird that you have a third-year starter at quarterback and he's not a captain? And then, we talked about it last week, and I expanded that to, the other thing that, yes, I mean, that does seem a little odd. Also, you had 2 running backs that when they came in, everybody was saying that, yeah, these are guys that are already leaders in the locker room. I found it a little odd, thinking about it, that neither of them were captains. But going into the season, what you could alternatively be looking at and saying is, my God, this team is so full of leadership that not even Drew Aller or Nicholas Singleton or Katron Allen are captains. There's just that's how strong the leadership is, right? That's what
they have captains and they have game captains.
Yeah, but so none of that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, none of that. In and of itself, still explains, as you said, it's not just that they weren't performing up to expectations. It's that we've seen many of these individuals perform at a much higher level than what we've seen throughout the season. And really, even the defense, I mean, through 3 games, we weren't overly concerned about the defense, but really there were some indications there. Again, these were far inferior competition, and they had inferior in terms of at least the recruited talent. That I want to be
budget, team, all that stuff.
Yes, I should clarify that a bit because they acquitted themselves pretty well on the field, all things considered, against Penn State. But there were some those teams, including Villanova, had some drives going. Again, they didn't put up a lot of points. I get it, but even there, in retrospect, I think, yeah, maybe things aren't quite as good as you'd like to see them. But certainly offensively, really from the outset, this thing has just never felt right. And I kept thinking, well, all right, yep, Nevada, they'll get it right, though. I mean, there's too much talent. They just maybe came out, took that one for granted. Well, then FIU, it's well, now that's a bit of a pattern. But they have one more game to really get this right before they get into the conference schedule. You know they're going to be honed in, and it's like, nope. And then you're hoping against Oregon, and then you have 3 quarters of nothing from the offense. And then you get that little spark. You get the couple of touchdowns. Like, all right, man, that took a long time, but here they go. And there they went. And it just never came together. And it's just, again, to me, it is very perplexing. For whatever you want to say about James Franklin, and there's been a lot said, good, bad, indifferent. Man, that guy, until the last 2 games with UCLA and Northwestern, until those 2 games, the culture seemed really strong. The players seemed completely committed to the program and the coaching staff. Coaching staff seemed to be completely comfortable with the players they had and all of that. Like, it never felt like that was, yes, the big game thing was real, as James Franklin said. The facts are the facts. We are 4-21 against top 5 teams or top 10 teams, whether you're underdogs, favorites. I mean, that is not the standard that you want to be setting at a place like Penn State. Fine, but very rarely, certainly over the last 4 seasons, that they just did not lose the games they weren't that they were favored in. And then you had the UCLA game, and it's like, oh my God, they actually let Oregon beat them twice. And then it's like, no, maybe this is what this team is when you watch the Northwestern game. Because the thing that was tough about the Northwestern game to me, Goon, as I'm watching that thing, is it didn't feel like there was any one element that was letting the team down. It just felt like they were in an overall malaise and just could not figure it out. And it wasn't that they were not competitive, again, against Northwestern. I get it, at home. But you felt like they were a step slow. I felt like they were a step slow all day against Northwestern in a homecoming game where you knew now your season really was at stake. And there just never seemed to be that real sense of urgency, or even if there was a sense of urgency, it never came together. I mean, this thing never looked anything close to what you thought it was going to look like.
They never looked like, I'm so happy to be out here. Let's go out here. I'm chomping at the bit to go out and kick the crap out of Northwestern and move on to the next game. There was never any of that. I sat in this seat on Thursday. You remember what I said? I said, if this team comes out there and doesn't show any kind of like moxie, toughness, pride, inner fortitude, then blow it up. James has got to go. And then we get that performance on Saturday. And it's just like, I mean, you know, Nick Dawkins was talking to the press today, and he was like the elephant in the room. all of us feel horrible because James recruited all of us here. All like James said, I recruited every player in this team, every person on this staff to this, and
Yep.
they feel like they've let them down, and they did. But it was just like there never was that there was never a sense of urgency. Like
It didn't feel like
nothing.
it anyway.
It just
watching
didn't urgency.
Yeah.
Like I said, inner fortitude. I mean, you know what that means. I mean, the fans out there, they know what that means. And it was just like we didn't show any of that. And then I'm listening to Terry. We can talk about Terry and Pat's press conference here in a little bit, but I do want to say Terry said, last year, USC, Wisconsin, in the bowl games. I mean, the ball bounced our way a couple times last year. And we had 3 games this year where it did not bounce our way whatsoever. But you got to make those breaks. I mean, good teams play through all of that.
Yeah.
They got to get through that. And it just, I'm sort of at like a crossroads right now. Like my brain, I'm like, okay, I did say blow it up, but I was like, it is time to move on. That's fine. I get it, because of that. If that's the effort we're going to get from this team, this senior-laden, overly talented super team, then Pat did the right thing in blowing it up. And, let's talk about it, but I think that Terry absolutely killed that press conference yesterday. But you know what somebody said to me? James killed press conferences too. It's just we're going to see Saturday night what this team is about. I mean, that's the only thing. We can sit there. They're going to say all the right things. Well, if they don't go out in Kinnick Stadium, and that is a absolute monster of a place to play. So, Ethan Grunkmeyer, your first start is at the Kinnick Stadium in a night game, and then you get a week off to catch your bruises up and catch your breath, and then you're going to go out to the Shoe. That'll be your second start. Is going to be at the Shoe. So, I mean, we're going to see Saturday if this team is, has any kind of, like I said, moxie, toughness, whatever. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it went. I mean, you could sit there and say, okay, well, are we trying to win the Heisman for 3 different players, for the quarterback and the 2 running backs during this? Like, were we just thinking about that too much and trying to press this and press that instead of just going out, pounding people and moving on? I don't know. Jeff, I cannot put my finger on what in the hell was going on. What happened from January 3rd until August 30th this year? Something I can't explain it.
Yeah, Seth says bottom line, team is just not good. Well, okay.
It's the same team as last.
Yeah. The question is why? Because it returned a ton of talent from a team that was good a year ago, a team that was, depending on how you want to look at it, a play away from playing for the national championship. That's a pretty good team. And yep, you lost some very good players, Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter most notably, for sure. But you had a ton of talent returning from that team. You had
injured guys coming back too.
I think most felt an upgrade at the wide receivers positions. And you had the same offensive coordinator who got the job done effectively last year, and the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country. So, bottom line, team is just not good. Okay, but why? It's hard for me to buy that, well, just not the talent. They just don't have the talent. No. And it's also very hard for me to buy, well, no, it's coaching, Ironhead. They just, man, you just don't have the coaching. Well,
I could see that on defense.
James Franklin won a whole lot of games. Jim Knowles won a national championship as a coordinator. And Andy Kotelnicki, going into this season, was generally regarded as one of the best offensive coordinators. And you look at the assistants, I'm not going to go through them all, but I mean, so yes, I mean, a team's not good, but if you have talent and you have good coaches, whether or not you win the big games, it's hard to argue going into this season that James Franklin wasn't a good coach and that the coaching staff he had wasn't good. So, okay, not again, agreed, 3-3 and losing the 2 games they have, not good. My question is, why is this team not good? It's, to me, very perplexing.
Yeah, well, defensively, you can sit there and say, okay, you can have maybe one excuse, and that would be When Joe Moorhead was the OC, it took 5 or 6 games for it to click. Maybe that's what's going on with our defense. But, I mean, our defense, like Terry said yesterday, it starts up front. There's no toughness on the defensive line and on the offensive line right now. It's just guys who are just going out there and going through the motions and getting blasted. And it's like, we're losing to UCLA and Northwestern, Jeff. What in the hell is Iowa and Ohio State and Indiana going to do if they go out and give that kind of effort? It's going to get ugly. So I get all worked up. I went into the show pretty good. I'm getting all worked up now. So I'm just like, okay, let's go the old Joe Paterno route. If this goes sour this weekend, Terry should just say, you know what, seniors, thank you, it's time, and then just poop can them all and get the younger guys in there and get some experience for the younger guys. Build for the future. That's how I'm looking at it. I mean, these guys, after just what just went down, like Nick Dawkins saying, the elephant in the room is that we didn't play for this man and he got fired. That's on us. So, are they going to go out there this week and step up and say, okay, this is our apology? We owe this to Coach Franklin to go out and do this. We owe this to Coach Terry Smith to go out and play hard. Because I know Terry. I mean, I play with Terry. Terry is an unbelievable competitor. I can't imagine him not upset with what's going down right now. I mean, he's in a position right now where he's the head dog and he can make those decisions. But, I mean, I'm telling you, I think Terry will look at that D-line and the offense, and he specifically mentioned those yesterday. Yeah. And I think he will pull guys during the game if they're not playing up to snuff, and just saying, hey, thank you. I don't care that you're a 5th-year senior, a 17th-year senior. I don't know what it is or whatever. Or you're a 5-star. I don't care. We're getting guys out here who are going to play and play with some kind of pride and moxie. And then he kept on saying, toughness. Kept on saying it. Because we're getting out-toughed. How the hell does a Penn State football team get out-toughed? And it's been going on for a while.
By a winless UCLA team and by a Northwestern team in a game where your season truly was on the line.
We had a real bad experience against UCLA. You know what? They're playing well, this and that. But the road is still there. It is still there if you win out. Indiana went out and beat Oregon. Guess what? Indiana's in the top 5 now. So you can go out to Iowa, beat Ohio State, beat Indiana. Guess what? You're back in it. And that was still there. And that was the effort that those guys put out there. And it is on Coach Franklin for that. That's his guys. I mean, he had to have seen something during the week. But again, I go back to, I heard the practices were really, really good last week. The coaches were coaching them up and the players were hustling, running around and this and that. And then that's the effort they go out there and give out on Saturday. I just don't understand. Are they complacent? Or are they like, oh, we're Penn State, dude, it's Northwestern, we're going to roll all over this? You should have learned that lesson last week against UCLA. And it cost the man a job. James did great things for Penn State. Penn State should be very thankful for James Franklin because we were in a bad spot, man. I said it on my show last night, the Players Show. Billy O'Brien deserves a lot of credit because he kept it alive here. He kept it going.
Yep.
And then James came in here when it was going to be the worst time. And that was 14, 15, or 14, 15, and 16. They were the bad times. And he turned it around. By 16, they won a Big Ten freaking title. Think about that, what that man had done. It was the lowest of the low with the sanctions in 14 and 15. And he kept that team together, and they won a Big Ten title in 2016. Played in a Rose Bowl in 2016. The man deserves a lot of credit for that. And then, it got a little stagnant again, but then he turned that around and he built this whole program back up. And this was the time. And he did a lot of this himself, by the way he talked in the preseason. Do you think that or not? He did a lot of this, saying this is the best personnel
in terms
we've ever
of
had.
Expectations.
Well, yeah, he set the expectation in the bar so high.
Yep.
That, this is the best coaching staff we've had here. This is the best player system we've had here. We are ready to go. It's national championship or bust. Okay, that's the attitude you're going to give to the fans. We're all going to have that attitude. And then, it was an absolute disgrace how he was treated after that game, but I can understand how people were so mad and frustrated and upset because the expectations were so high coming into this season. And then, if it's all still available to get, some things had to happen for us to run that table. Obviously, it would be very, very, very hard, but it was still there. And that was the effort that was given. And I take my hat off to Pat Kraft because that was a bear of a decision. It really was. Mid-season, getting rid of a coach like that with that kind of buyout. But as Pat said yesterday, the analytics and everything just did not add up to where we want to be right now. And it cost James his job.
Yeah, again, a lot of things to unpack. I do wonder, and I wonder if it'll come out at some point. I feel like probably it will. What Penn State actually ends up paying James Franklin. Reading through some things, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the $50 million. And depending on who you believe, how much Penn State is actually paying of whatever. Ends up being the amount James Franklin is paid.
I did see some stuff on that if he does take another job, say he takes a job for $4 million and then his salary is $9 million, so the Penn State's only on the hook for $5 million that year. I did see that, or if he goes on the television. So it is just based off of what he's going to earn next year, but he has to apply to get jobs and stuff like that, whatever. But you're right. Who did pay it? I mean, when the Board of Trustees comes out and says, oh, Adidas did not do this, what do you think right away? It's not a very trustworthy Board of Trustees, in my opinion, with some of the stuff that's going over in the past 10 or 20 years. Are they transparent enough to be like, that's not what happened? Is it even legal for Adidas to do that?
I would think so.
Okay.
I think Adidas can do what they want.
No, but they were saying something. Well, that report was that they wanted James gone. I mean, I don't think they can have that kind of sway. I don't think so. They said before the law, the tweet that I saw said even before the 3-game loss that Adidas wanted James gone. And I don't believe that whatsoever, one bit, not even a little bit. But who the heck knows, man?
Yeah.
So that's about it. So let's wrap it up, Jay. We got nothing else.
There are a lot of factors that are in play these days, even more so than in the past. And I don't know. It's interesting that I obviously have no inside information on Adidas or not, but money does talk. If you're thinking, no, Penn State's not going to listen to Adidas, yeah, Penn State is going to listen to Adidas. They're going to listen to their big money boosters. They're going to listen to the networks. That they're listening to all of that stuff.
But I think that Penn State made the right decision cutting the cord now. Okay, hear me out here a little bit here, and that is usually when these things happen, it's at the NFL. It's like, okay, it's bye week. Like we'll cut the coach on Monday, and then there's 2 weeks for the new coach to come in and get the team ready. You know what I mean? Our bye is next week. But I think that Pat's hands were tied like, okay, but if this guy goes out, James goes out there, and they beat Iowa, I cannot fire him. You know what I mean? You don't get fired after all if you beat a tough Iowa team. And I think that Pat just saw the future and saw where we've been and where we're going. And as I said, his analytical mind was looking at the trajectory of the team of where we want to be and where we're at. And I just think that the move had to be made. I mean, money or not, I think that move had to be made. The money makes it a lot easier to say, hey, we'll take care of the elephant in the room, and that's the big buyout.
Yeah, I think the reason the move had to be made is money. Maybe we're splitting hairs here, but money, it didn't have to be made except for financially long term.
Yeah.
But
like I said, if they waited, if you kept James as the coach until the end of the year, but you wanted to move on from him, it's like they've already made their decision to move on. So I respect how they did it and did it. Pull the bandage right off. Don't sit there and mess around with pulling a Band-Aid up. Just get the thing off right away and boom.
Yeah, and I think to a large degree, James Franklin appreciates the situation in that he, as much as anybody, understands it's a results-oriented business. He made several tough decisions himself over the years regarding personnel, coaching staff, and otherwise. And because, hey, we're just not getting the job done. So, I think he certainly saw the writing on the wall, and I think it's why he answered some things the way he did after that Northwestern game, whether or not he necessarily knew it was going to be this past weekend. I think he had a very good feeling that the end was certainly near for his time as head coach.
He had to see that in the performance of the team on Saturday. I mean, you're losing to Northwestern and you lost to Northwestern. He had no mid game like, okay, this is not going to go well. This is, I'm not going to make it. And it's just a shame because you don't want to ever see that, a man lose his job, and then we have to pick up everything from there and create this whole new thing. It's not something we're used to. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I mean, it's new to us, new to Penn State, and I mean, the last couple of hires I've been after Joe have been weird ones because of this situation and went down. With Bill coming in, saving the place, but he was. He got dealt the sanctions and stuff like that. So it was like, holy crap. I mean, I'm a big Bill O'Brien fan, and he was completely blindsided by those sanctions because he was told that was never going to happen. And, truth be told, he probably never would have come here if those sanctions were going to be there. Who the hell would have come here?
I think that's
who would have come here under those circumstances?
Yep.
You'd have to have, Joe Schmo come in here and coach these guys. You're somebody who really wanted the job. Because it was going to be bad, and Bill kept it together. And then James built it back up to where we're at right now, where we were talking about national titles again. It is funny hearing the national narrative of this thing. And I don't know if I'm just listening to blowhard, Twitter guys like you and I. But, it's like the national thing is like, is this a great job? Is this a wonderful job? Is this a national championship type of job? I seem to think so.
I think the fans of any top 25, top 30 school think their program is.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be that Michigan and Ohio State, we have to get over that, but we have done that. Well, obviously not over Ohio State in many years, but Michigan was down for a few years there, and they've come back. Look at them; they won a national title. So, I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean, it's just we got to get the right people in here, the right person in here right now, and right now it's Terry Smith. So Terry has all my absolutely 100%, 110% of my confidence on going out there. I mean, I was very, very, very jacked up after watching that press conference yesterday. I really was. And then Terry is a great human being. Terry made a point yesterday. He's like, hey, listen, I recruited about 60 of these kids on this team. That is the biggest thing Terry needs to do is keep this team around, keep these younger guys here. And that's going to be a tough thing to do with, not knowing who's coming to be their coach.
Yeah, we'll delve into that a little bit. I also want to talk about, Penn State and where it fits in the list of great jobs, quality jobs. And we'll get into who we think they should be going after and who would be a good fit and all of that when we come back. I want to talk about the programs that winning a national title obviously is a very difficult task. I think it is for sure the right thing that Penn State is pursuing that. There was one thing that it bothered me a little bit from the press conference yesterday. I thought overall Pat Kraft and Terry Smith were terrific. And maybe it's just me. And again, I certainly recognize we are in different times in the athletic world, but I'll kick that around when we come back. Also, just real quick, Penn State has looked complacent from the messages. Penn State has looked complacent ever since the FIU game. I think they looked pretty complacent in the Nevada game. I think right out of the gate. That complacency starts with James. I mean, yeah, James will be the first to tell you. Everything starts with him. I do think it's funny how we ascribe things because, well, James wasn't showing emotion. Well, if they're winning and he's not showing emotion, that's stoicism. Boy, he is stoic. When Cale Sanderson doesn't show a lot of emotion. I don't see people ripping Cale Sanderson. Man, he just sits there. He looks complacent. oh, he's going to get into it. Have you ever heard anybody? I mean, so
I love it.
like, come on. But fair enough as far as it goes. Defense has a personnel issue. No one can hold the gaps in the middle. The size of the defensive tackles, I think, is a legitimate concern to bring up. I do think, to your point, I think Zane Durant and Dennis Sutton have been playing with a ton of emotion and have brought the passion and all of that. I think Chaz has brought it. So I don't think it's fair to say as a group, man, they're just not they're bringing it. They're bringing it, but they're not getting the results. I think that the size in particular, size maybe / strength, but I think more so the size of the defensive tackles is something that maybe does need addressed moving forward. Bill O'Brien and James Franklin did a wonderful job of rebuilding Penn State football. Again,
Absolutely.
there is absolutely no question about that, and there is a debt that is owed. Beyond the financial part,
sure.
There is literally a debt owed to James Franklin. But yes, to me, Penn State fans do owe Bill O'Brien and James Franklin a whole lot of gratitude for getting Penn State to where it is, or at least has been over the last few years. Because when you look back at where people thought this program was going to be over this last decade and where it's been, that is a night and day difference, and it is what allows folks to think that the next head coach could get Penn State a national championship. We'll take a break here, and we're coming right back.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get too quick and steak and lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get too quick and steak and lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
Your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America. 98.7 The Fox. State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Tuesday afternoon. Of course, Penn State is in a national search for its next head football coach. James Franklin, relieved of his duties on Sunday afternoon, did get to address the team. And Terry Smith named on an interim basis. All right, a bunch of things I want to get into in this segment.
Go ahead.
Starting with the press conference. And listen, I get it as far as it goes, and I suspect to a lot of people, not a big deal.
Yesterday's press conference. Or James' Saturday.
Nope, yesterday. Okay. So the thing that was not mentioned at all, and again, I suspect if we ask him, if we get him on the show sometime, Pat Kraft will tell you, well, no, that's what I meant by the We Are Penn State stuff. But no mention of academics and the classroom. Not once in the entire press conference. There was a time where that would be pretty unthinkable at Penn State. And again, I understand as far as it goes, we've got to recruit elite talent. We've got to develop talent. We've got all of the things. And I think James Franklin did a very good job on all of those fronts. Not a national championship. I get it. That should be the goal. That should be the aspiration. I am rooting like crazy that whoever gets the job, and Terry Smith maybe ends up being the guy. I think that's unlikely, but that is certainly a possibility, and Pat Kraft allowed for that possibility yesterday. Obviously, for that to have any chance of happening, Penn State probably needs to go at least 4-2 in these final 6 games. I think that is a very unlikely proposition right now.
The way they're playing? Yeah.
So I think we can probably agree that the grand experiment is kind of on the back shelf. It is now, we got to pursue winning a national title. And I think most Penn State fans are on board for that. I'm on board with winning the national title, and I understand all of the the different components that are in play now, where academics maybe isn't as prominent, isn't as prominent a factor as it once was, just across the board in college football. I did just take a little time earlier today because I want to go through this a little bit. We will get to our candidates, who's each of your top 3 candidates. One thing I will say, I'm listening to a lot of the talk over the last couple of days, both nationally and locally. I will say I would not rule out anybody. I go back to when Penn State hired Cale Sanderson to be its wrestling coach. I've told this story before, but I was asked by a reporter about, 2 or 3 weeks before Cale was introduced. It's like, who do you think it could be? And I said, well, literally anybody outside of John Smith. They're not going to get John Smith, Tom Brands, or Cale Sanderson, because those 3 are at their alma maters, and they're just, they're locked in as great coaches, great programs, and it just wasn't something I envisioned as even being possible that any of those 3. And of course, a couple of weeks later, here comes Cale Sanderson introduced, and everything that went down. So I do think Pat Kraft is genuinely committed to winning at least a national championship, if not multiple national
Winning
championships.
all national championships across the board every year.
The sport of football. And so to do that, I think they will identify who they think is the best coach out there and give them a ring. Now, I'm not saying they then get them and that's automatic, but I'm telling you, I think they reach out to a Dan Lanning. Oh, Ironhead, Oregon's. I'm not saying Dan Lanning comes. I'm saying they reach out to him, and I don't rule out the possibility. I don't know what all resources Penn State could possibly provide that Oregon can't or won't or doesn't. But I'm just telling you, I think they reach out to anybody and everybody that they think, man, that's a guy that could get the job done here. So that's number one. I don't rule out anybody. Again, I'm not expecting Dan Lanning. Just let the record show. I do think, Marcus Freeman is coming out. Ryan Day.
Caleb DeBoer. You could say all these guys. Steve Sarkisian, because it's like you just said. You said no chance in Cale Sanderson. Guess who?
So, do I think it's likely with any of the aforementioned? I don't. I'm not expecting any of them. But I think, again, if you're Penn State right now, if you're Pat Kraft, you're identifying these are the top 5 guys that I think could get the job done. Now, maybe somebody else comes in and blows your socks off in an interview, and that's great. And, oh, my gosh, this is the right fit. So that's the other end of it is I also don't think you rule out anybody because of a lack of head coaching experience. Again, do I think you would rather have somebody with head coaching experience? Yep. But if Joe Brady comes in and wows you in the interview, do I think he's, man, we'd love to have you, but no head coaching experience. We just can't make that hire. That seems silly to me because every great coach that's out there before they became a great head coach wasn't a head coach. At some point in their career, they were not a head coach. So if somebody just comes in and they're like, man, you're listening to them, this is the right plan, these are the people that they want to bring in, which is another part of this now. So the organization part, to me, Goon, I know there's a lot of people, well, you got to get an innovator. We had somebody on our morning show this morning. Has to be an innovative mind. Well, they brought Andy Kotelnicki in because he was nationally renowned for being one of the most creative offensive minds in football. And now 2 years in, a year and a half in, Penn State fans are ready to get rid of Andy Kotelnicki as well.
But do you think, I'm sorry to cut your,
no, go ahead.
With the Andy Kotelnicki thing, and I saw it and I suspected it. Do you think James was meddling with that offense?
So that is one of the things I think we're at least going to get an indication of.
We will. Yes, we will.
Is what happens Saturday night. Do we? If you're Terry Smith, right? My thinking would be, you get together with the players and the coordinators, and what do you guys want to see? What do you as players? What do you think we should be doing? What do you think we should be doing scheme-wise? What do you think that the strengths are? How do you think we can best make this work?
How do we win?
And if you're Andy Kotelnicki and Jim Knowles, right, you've got to be going to Terry Smith saying, listen, this is what we want to do. Now, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, and I suspect some of it is probably accurate that, James Franklin obviously was the head coach, and, how much, I guess, is a question, not whether he did at all. How much was he hampering what Andy Kotelnicki wanted to do?
While now.
Well, again, I think we at least get an indication. I think it's unlikely that Terry Smith steps in and says, Andy, I want you to keep doing things exactly the way James was doing it. We don't want to make any changes. That seems pretty unlikely going into this Iowa game.
Good point.
Do we see, but, how crazy and wild do we see these schemes? How different does it look? Again, the schemes that Kotelnicki, with Franklin in charge, ran last year seem to work pretty darn effectively. overall. Hard to make the argument that it was, just, they just clashed and didn't work. And if they were clashing and didn't work, there would have been a move made in the offseason. If Andy couldn't tolerate James's interference, Andy would have moved on. If James thought Kotelnicki wasn't the right fit, he's certainly shown the proclivity to move on from coordinators. So that just, it seems unlikely to me that that's the entirety there of the offensive problem. But again, maybe we at least get an indication here Saturday night against Iowa.
I'm very interested in that aspect of it.
Yep.
And I'm also interested in the Jim Knowles thing. Is it just like the round peg in the square hole, trying to force in his defense with the personnel we have? Guess what? The personnel he had at Ohio State was a little bit better than I can say it. They had a lot better players than we have at Penn State right now. Sorry to say it, but they're popping in 5-6 guys on a defensive front, on each defense going to the NFL a year. Yes, I know we're producing players at Penn State, this and that, but all in all, they have some pretty good damn players at Ohio State. So is that system working here? We're going to see this Saturday again because, it's put up or shut up time. But I'm very interested in the offense. Very interested and see if Kotelnicki just lets it go because, you can make the argument that, like, okay, we're trying to win the Heisman for Drew Aller. That's a stupid way to go about a season, but
I don't think they were trying to win the Heisman for Aller in the first 6 games of the year.
Well,
we never saw anything that indicated they were trying to line this up.
It was like they didn't know that we had a great running game and a great passing, but we didn't know how to use it. It just did not click.
Yeah, that is for sure.
It is insane. I just don't understand what happened between that Notre Dame game and then that, because it was the same guys.
To a large degree.
You're missing Tyler Warren. And you have new, better wide receivers. They actually make catches. We did have 1 catch against Notre Dame. So I just don't Saturday is going to be very, very interesting. Not just the Gronkemeyer thing, but just, the offensive coordinator stuff. And how these guys play for them. Oh, my God. You know that I lost a team in 92, so I'm very well versed in that. I get that. But I never actually lost a coach and see how you come back from that. Because, if these guys weren't playing this year, they were worried about their draft status before. What the hell's going to happen now? If they've just given up before. If they're just going to say they're going to mail it in from here, then okay. Mail it in, just get off the team, get off the field. We'll go out there with the 50, 60 guys that we want to have out there. I don't know. The effort we've got in the last couple of weeks, if those kids show up, and I'm Terry Smith, I'm saying, you're gone, bud. I'm sorry. That's just how I'm feeling about this whole thing right now.
Yeah.
Terry, everybody's trying to be everybody's friend out there, I guess, at sometimes. And there's tough decisions that need to be made. If guys aren't playing up to par, get rid of them. Get them off the field. And if they're worried about their draft status, then I'm sorry. Singleton and Catron, they want to go and get their rushing records. Okay, that's fine. You haven't really done anything towards that so far this year. What's going to change? Are you going to give more effort in this and that? Are the offensive line's going to block for him? God, so much crap right now, man. Again, 15 days or 16, January 3rd. What has happened since then? God, dog.
Go in and get Urban Meyer if winning is all that matters. Again, worth a phone call, I would think, to both Urban Meyer and Nick Saban. I think there's zero chance that either – I don't think either have any interest in this world of college football. That's why Nick Saban is no longer at Alabama. He is, in as much said that this is not the world that interests me as a coach. And I think he's having too much fun with Pat McAfee.
I do too.
Game day. Like I think there is zero interest for Nick Saban to get back into coaching. And really, I think the same thing with Urban Meyer. I think at this point, the way college football has evolved, which leads me to my my next concern. And I don't necessarily, I don't disagree that a move had to be made. It was getting so ugly. We talked about it on our morning show. I just, if you were somebody that was yelling profanities, again, I get now because of everything that's involved, you're paying good money. A lot of people are paying really good money to sit in that seat. The players are getting paid. The booing, I can argue, man, I just assume that you not do it, but I think you just have to tolerate. That's part of the deal. You perform poorly, not up to expectations, you get booed. I think that's just part of the deal. Swearing at anybody in front of their family and kiddos and throwing stuff on another human being, that is a reflection on you doing the act, not on the coach or whoever you're doing that to. That is you need to apologize to your parents, whoever you are, or recognize that it's unfortunate that you didn't have a proper upbringing, and that is unfortunate, but that shouldn't carry over all throughout your life. At some point, you need to take accountability. Yeah, everybody was frustrated. Everybody was disappointed. Those were two really awful losses with UCLA and Northwestern. But come on. Wait, what are you doing? Swearing at a coach, berating him, and throwing stuff at him. That is, to me, again, you're just letting everybody else know, hey, I'm a despicable human being, in case you were wondering. And you are. You're a despicable human being if that's the way
half
you
of our
conduct it.
fan base is Pittsburgher. They're known for that kind of reaction. That's just the rules, bub.
So
I'm just kidding.
That being said, it is interesting to see now as we move forward with the new coach and everybody gets what they wanted. James Franklin is out. There's two things here. I am rooting like crazy that they make a great hire and that this hire does lead Penn State to a national championship, and I think that is a distinct possibility. I also think it is more likely that Penn State, over the next 5 years, no matter who the hire is, doesn't get back to the Final Four. I think that is the more likely scenario.
Ooh.
Why do I say that? Because it's really hard to win a national title, and it's pretty darn difficult to get to the Final Four. Again, can it all come together? Yes. And that's the other part of this, is it does all need to come together. You can hire the right coach, the best coach ever. Nick Saban, when he was at Michigan State. How many titles did he win at Michigan State again? Well, he's the greatest coach ever, Ironhead. Well,
job to friend again or turn it down.
He was a great coach. But what made him now a legendary coach is everything coming together. And again, there's a lot of things in place here, no question. You have an athletic director that is absolutely, no doubt, committed to bringing a national championship here to this program. 100% all in. But Alabama is all in. Georgia is all in. Clemson is all in. Texas A&M, in the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, USC. There's a lot of programs. Well, you get one title a year. I made the point this morning. Over a 10-year period, at the most, you're going to have 10 different programs win titles. There's like 25 to 30 that really feel like they should be winning one in the next 5 years. Well, that's the math doesn't add up there. And you have really good established programs. It is going to be very difficult, no matter who you hire. And I think there's some great names out there, and we'll get into the names that we think, maybe would be at the top of our list. But no matter who it is, I'm telling you, there's no guarantee that they're going to surpass what Ryan Day and Ohio State are doing. You're telling me there's anybody out there that's like, oh, yeah, if you get that guy, look out. The Buckeyes take a backseat to Penn State. No, the Ohio State's not automatically taking a backseat to anybody, anywhere, under any circumstances. They still have the most money that they're throwing at their program. Yeah, Penn State is throwing a ton of money here at the football program. They did big time splash with Jim Knowles getting him from Ohio State. They're not matching Ohio State's facilities. They're not matching the overall payroll. They're not. So, okay, again, could it happen? Yes. Do I think there's any guarantee that whoever you hire is, man, they're going to absolutely beat Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan in the foreseeable future? Well, no. And again, we've seen can't miss hires. Not here I'm talking about. I'm just talking in general. We've seen can't miss hires miss. Like, man, you're like, no, that guy's a great coach. That's the right fit for him. That's a program that's committed. And, for some reason, that's not working out.
Like everything else in this new world we're playing in, you need to have the money to get the players. And this is the crazy part of where we're at right now. So the more money you have, the better players you get. Is it a recruiting world? I don't know. Terry's preaching toughness. I mean, you're going to go out and get the top players and pay for them. Are they the kids you want, or you want a culture? You want a program kid. So the best comment I heard last week, and this is before the game. Actually, this is maybe a Monday or Tuesday. Somebody said when you start recruiting talent and stars and not the kids, you will suffer from a lack of leadership, and you will have a very, very, very steep fall very fast. And sure as hell it happened within 5 days of that comment being made. I mean, you think about that, and that is you recruiting talent. You need to recruit the kids who are fit your program. They need to fit your program and what you're trying to do. If Terry wants to come in here and have this offensive line and tough offensive line and tough defensive line and stuff like that, maybe those kids aren't all 5-star kids. Maybe you get a 3-star kid out of Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, out of the Philadelphia area, the South Jersey, Bronx, New York, somewhere, who's not getting a look anywhere because he doesn't have the stars, but he's a good program kid. He's tough as hell, and he's going to fight for your team. You got to get a lot of got to moving parts, or it's crazy how much it goes into this thing now.
To that end, did it not feel like that is what Penn State had working here? I'll just go through a couple of examples. Dom DeLuca is a multi-year captain here. Nick Dawkins could have easily said, you know what, I'm not getting the playing time I want. I'm a good enough talent to be a D1 starter, and I'm not getting that opportunity here. I'm out of here.
Great
Two
leaders,
guys, I get it, but I'm like, those guys are what you're talking about, guys that were absolutely committed. Again, I go back to Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen when they first came in. Everybody in that locker room, players and coaches alike, were raving about the leadership that these guys were providing as true freshmen. Drew Aller, say what you want about him, Goon, and I've never even met the kid, but I've talked to a bunch of people who have met him, some just through various circumstances, and then listening to Pat Kraft talk about him at the press conference yesterday. Whatever you want to say about Drew Aller, you cannot say that kid was not committed to trying to be the very best he could be and to trying to get – I mean, he came back for a year that he, didn't need to, and I think very sadly for him now it has worked out the way it has with the injury, to say nothing of the results. But, I mean, that kid is the character person you're talking about. So, again, to build a championship team, this is the difficulty. You do need that elite talent.
Sure you do.
Pat Kraft talked about it.
Tyler Warren, Abdul Carter.
That is a huge part of the equation. You have to have elite talent. But, yes, do you need toughness? Do you need guys that are committed to your program? Yes. Again, it felt to me going into this season like that is what Penn State had. That is the one thing you felt most confident about, more so than the talent, was that these guys, the culture is good. We've talked about it many times over the last few years. Like, man, these guys love playing for James. They love playing for each other. All of that seemed to be
not explain what happened this year.
Correct. In place. So going back to so what do you need to win a championship? You need everybody pulling in the same direction, which again, it felt like Penn State had that. yeah, you need some elite talent, but you need that toughness. It felt like Penn State had that. Maybe not enough. Maybe they did get complacent. Maybe James Franklin did get complacent. Maybe he started taking some things for granted. It's really difficult to me to assess that. Something clearly went wrong. And there were red flags right out of the gate with that Nevada game. Truthfully, even though they didn't get the win, the way that game with Oregon finished up, Goon, I thought that was the biggest spark we saw all season was that fourth quarter, and then up until the Aller interception. Yes. It was like, all right, well, here, Penn State now is right there with one of the big dogs. Now, we also need to see how the season plays out because Indiana now has gone into Oregon and won that game. I think it's more because Indiana is also legit, but let's see how this season plays out for Oregon. Again, we tend to make these grand pronouncements on this team is this and this team is that before we get the full scope of data that can, you know what, actually that team wasn't all that. Or, yeah, that team actually is all that and more than what we thought early in the season. So we'll see how all of this stuff plays out. From Penn State's perspective, again, you need a coach who is well organized, who can get and develop elite talent, who can get that toughness, all of those things for sure. And you need to get these days a good general manager, which I think Penn State I'm assuming there'll be a change there too. We can maybe get into that later as well. But you need all of that stuff. And then you also need a little luck. Somewhere along the way, you got to get a bounce that, boy, that could have gone either way, and it went your way. There's every championship team, there is something somewhere where it's like, oh, boy, that could have gone the other way, and it just goes your way. And yes, hard work and perspiration and all of that, it creates opportunity. I get it. Also, yep, sometimes it's just, man, that we dodged a bullet on that one. They committed a penalty on that interception.
It happened 3 times last year for sure.
Yeah, and so again, I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. I think it is entirely possible that Penn State wins the national title. I'm telling you, the more likely scenario, though, is just because, again, there's a lot of other really good teams out there, really good programs making the same type of commitment and investment, and it's just really hard to go win a national title. I think if you told me today, not knowing obviously who the coach is it more likely that Penn State wins a national title sometime in the next 5 years, or Penn State doesn't get to the Final Four over the next 5 years? I think the more likely scenario is the latter, that they don't get to the Final Four. Doesn't mean, again, maybe they get the guy and it does all come together and look out, Penn State wins a couple of national titles. Fantastic. And again, do I think that's a possibility? Sure. But I don't think Ohio State's going anywhere. Don't think Oregon's going anywhere. I think Texas is going to be right back in the mix here. Alabama and Georgia aren't going anywhere in the foreseeable future. LSU is all in. Florida may be another program that opens up, and they are going to be going all in. And there's a number, USC, there's a number of programs out there that are also going to be going all in, and some of them already have. Georgia, Clemson is, but they do have a guy that's won titles, Ohio State. So, and this is the other part of it for me, Goon, is, all right, so you get your guy, whoever you think the guy is, and then if they let it go 5 years and you don't get to the Final Four in those 5 years, well, then you're bringing in another guy. And this is and it's the world we're living in. I get it as far as it goes. Yeah. I'm just telling you, this is, you end up chasing your tail here more often than not. Now, you hope you hit the jackpot with one of them, and Penn State is certainly doing everything it can to make sure it hits the jackpot with this next hire, and I understand that, and they may very well do it. But is there a coach out there? Let's just, we'll end this break, going into this break with this. is there a coach out there, Goon, that you feel like is a lock? And I'm like, say Penn State can truly bring in anybody. Like it's if Ryan Day or Dan Lanning, is there anybody out there that you're like, man, yeah, if Penn State gets them, there is no doubt they win a national title here at some point in the next 5 years.
Can anybody say that? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think there is. Like, would I feel really good about their chances if Dan Lanning comes in? Yeah, I'd feel really good about their chances. Ryan Day, yes. And again, I don't think either of them are coming. I understand that. I'm just Kirby Smart. Like, I don't think that the culture fit is going to be a great one there. I don't think there is somebody out there, no matter who it is, where you're like, all right, yes, that is. Now, on the other side, there's probably about 10 names, and I'm like, yeah, I could see that working. I could see them winning a national title with that guy. That's the position that they're in. And again, Pat Kraft has also put a lot of pressure on whoever it is and this program that, yeah, it is national title or bust. You come in here and you get to the Final Four, that's not the expectation here. The expectation is that whoever comes in.
Pat threw the gauntlet down. He came out and pretty much said, we're not going to spare an expense, which they're not as of so far. But we need to get some people back on board here. I mean, there was a lot of people who were Joe people who did not like James, who were not going to. They were not ponying money up because they didn't like where the program was going or how it was treated or how Joe was not treated or Joe was treated. You know, we got to bring those people back on board because that's a lot of money out there, and that's what the game is right now.
All right.
I mean, facilities. I mean, yeah, Hugh. No, we do not want your opinion, Huey. I'm sure I'll get it on a 38-page text message in the next few days, but
we will take a break here. We will go through the list of maybe top 3 to 5 that would be on our wish list as guys that would have us excited. But this is the other interesting thing. For every name that I've seen thrown out there, I have seen people saying, I don't want that guy.
You're never going to make everybody happy.
So, yes. So, at the end of the day, it's whether or not they make the right hire is going to be solely dependent on what the results are over, really, it's going to be like the next 3 years. Because if in this world of college football, if they're not in the Final Four at the very least within the next 3 years, then I'm telling you, it's going to be perceived as a swing and a miss.
We're going to have a very young team next year. We really are. So.
Well, we don't know that.
Well,
that's another thing.
We don't know who's staying, going, or whatever, whatnot.
We will get into as
Holy
we continue.
Crap, I didn't think about that.
It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fall.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get too quick and steak and lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get too quick and steak and lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
Your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox. State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back on a Tuesday afternoon. Dear Goon, I think we both have the same name at the top of our list. We'll compare notes here, but I think there's no question. You and I, Pat Narduzzi is really the only answer.
I was waiting for your answer. What the hell are you going with this thing? Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
not?
Narduzzi he's the guy.
We got to get Nardog in here.
Yep.
And,
He's been such a big Penn State proponent over the years.
we'll get that Penn State Pitt rivalry going again, baby.
Absolutely, brother. Man. Yeah,
all right,
I mean,
do you want to?
so many names out there. I mean, honest to God, like you said it earlier, it's like you're going to find fault with every one of them, and you're going to find the positives and this and that, and you're never going to make everybody happy. We had guys on there saying it's got to be Urban Meyer. He was the one going to replace Joe, but now we're 13 years later. But
Yeah,
it's a different world right now.
I mean,
man.
again, do I think it's worth a call? Sure, I do, but I get the feeling Urban Meyer has absolutely no interest in returning to coaching in this world of college football anywhere. Again,
14 years ago that Joe left, and that was rumored that he was 14 years.
Well, and I'm also not sure. Like, I do think worth a phone call, but I also think you need to be really careful because Urban Meyer was a great coach. Would he be now with all of the different components? Like, even if he wants to, and again, I don't think he has any interest, but let's say he does, there's still not a guarantee that you're going to get the results of the Urban Meyer of old, because it is an entirely different world. There's different dynamics that are in play now. Again, do I think was a great coach? Yes. Do I think he'd be a good coach if that's what he wanted to do and he put his mind to it? Yes. But whether or not he'd be a championship caliber coach, I mean, who knows? I don't know how well he would do with all of the added pressures. And listen, part of the equation here, again, it is a different world. And so you do have a general manager that is going to be part of this equation as well.
We could both agree on that. That definitely has to happen.
Yeah. And, I think they'll.
Now, does the coach bring a general manager, or does the athletic
I think they need
bring
to.
him?
I think you need to be on the same page with what that's going to, who it is you want to talk to, or who it's going to be that needs to be part of the hiring process, and it needs to be somebody that the coach wants. Like that, hey, this is, and yeah, I mean the AD needs to be comfortable with that and all of that, but like that is a big part of the equation now, along with again everything that comes into play now. You have to have the right people in charge of the NIL stuff. You have to have the right people in charge. And again, you say what you want about James Franklin. A lot of this stuff he was really good at. And he at least seemed to enjoy it. I don't know whether he actually did, but he seemed to enjoy it. Yeah, Dabo Swinney has been mentioned. I think we're seeing the game pass Dabo by, not the game itself, but the game around the game, if you will. His reluctance on NIL, to me, was just is a big part of the explanation of why Clemson has fallen off to the degree it has. I think he's still a great football coach, but I don't think he wants to deal with all of the things that you have to deal with now to be competitive.
Old school guy is going to run into that right now.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about Saban and you talk about Urban Meyer. Hey, man, guess what? Urban and Nick, you can't yell at our players now because they're going to leave.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know about that. I think you can. Anyways, I don't.
You know what I'm saying? You really got to have you got to kiss these kids' butts all year round because, as Nick Saban said, all these kids are talking about how am I playing next year? No, it's not. It's how much money am I getting next year? And you got to make every kid happy and special. And I just don't think those guys had that. I mean, Dabo is, he dabbled in the transfer portal and the NIL is what's going to cost him. But you have to, again, James was really good at maneuvering all of those parts, but it's draining, absolutely draining. So I am more and more convinced that the general manager has to be a thing here. It has to be. Now, are you going to bring in an NFL guy like North Carolina did with Belichick and Mike Lombardi? I mean, I don't know. I really don't know what to say there. I don't know if it's an NFL guy that you need, or is it a guy with the college experience that, we've been dealing with the NIL now for 3 years. Are there guys out there who are understudies to guys who have really – I don't know. It's just a different freaking world. Really different world, man.
Yes, in every which way.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I just don't think the old school coaching, it's not going to work. You can't – I don't know. I mean, like Terry says, he wants toughness and this and that, but it's like, okay, well then, these kids, you want these kids to – I mean, that's the thing I worry about, and because you don't see these kids as super tough kids, and that is they're making business decisions, and they're not worried about this or that, or it's about playing time and money, and if they don't get what they want, they're just going to transfer.
Yeah.
And it's the craziest thing in the world. It's so easy to transfer. We need to fix that. As the NCAA, and maybe that could be their last breath, and that's fixing the transfer portal, not making it so easy for people to transfer to 2-3. I'll give you one transfer. You made a mistake and then a second one if your coach leaves. Okay, that's 2. But you're not jumping around 3 colleges in 3 years without at least sitting out a year. That's what held us all back from transferring, was we would miss a whole nother football season unless you transferred down. Now, I mean, you weren't allowed to transfer from Big 10 to Big 10 schools when I was here either.
Yep.
If you did, you had to pay your own way. That's crazy. But they stopped poaching. And now it's just, it's just poaching. It's just, what did Pat say yesterday? Every one of those kids has been contacted by every Power 4 team out there. Every kid on that roster right now is being trying to be poached right now. Think about that as a coach coming in here having to fight against that. Holy crap, man. Jeez. I can't fathom. Oh, well, Michigan's offered me $500,000, so you guys got to give me $600,000. I mean, okay. Show me where that happened. Show me where this contract is. I don't know. It's so bad, man. Just, God, dog, it's so bad.
So, all right, let's start. Give me 3 to 5 names that you would like to see. That, man, if they get that guy, I'm going to be fully on board or
Well,
I'm
going to go with Bill O'Brien, obviously, to finish what he started. It's going to be a tough thing for him because I think there'll be more negativity towards him coming back here. because of how he left, because there's still people who think that he screwed Penn State over by going to the NFL. It could not be farther from the truth, but we'll let bygones be bygones. You think of what you want, it's all right. But, he hasn't had a stellar 2 seasons at Boston College, so that might be a little bit of an issue, his win-loss record and stuff. So, the usual. Matt Rule was obviously a great fit because obviously his background here, are we really rebuilding a program? And I don't think that we are. I just think he needs to pick back up where we were, as compared to Temple and Baylor. I'm saying when there's complete destruction going on with those programs.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's one of the interesting components here to me is I don't think we know with certainty as we sit here right now how much of a rebuilding project it is going to be. And I could make the argument and I could see it playing out either way, where it's like, yeah, pretty much you're going to be starting from scratch with your roster because these guys are going to be out of here. Or I could see, yeah, you know what? This is a good hire. I think I can be part of, I could see an overwhelming majority of kids staying. I could see an overwhelming majority of kids leaving. Yeah. And part of it is going to be obviously how they feel about the hire, and presumably they'll at least listen to whoever the new coach is and at least get that initial assessment.
And we don't know how good a coach Matt Rule is, because he's always been this this upward Temple team and this upward Baylor team. He flopped at Carolina, but that's the NFL. That's a whole different world, and they're already having troubles down there with the new coaching. So it's probably not a coaching thing in Carolina. It's a systemic thing down there. But, he's at Nebraska. He's in his 3rd year. Every year he's coached at Temple, and then at Baylor, it's always the 3rd year where they make their big push. So, and then they move on. So I don't know how good of a coach Matt Rule is, because he's always had these ho-hum teams that are playing above themselves and doing well. Has he won a national title? Has he been in the playoffs? No, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I don't know if Matt is a great coach. Would I like him to be here? Yes. As a former teammate and a friend of mine, yes, it'd be good. I'd have no problems with it, but we don't know how great of a coach Matt really truly is, because he has only been doing these rebuild projects, and then he usually moves on. So I don't know. Can he bring Nebraska to the playoffs, to a national title? I don't know. So is that a hire? Yeah. You got Cignetti out there at Indiana. It's proven that he can take a team. He was a JMU's head coach, and it's proven that he can take a team like Indiana and bring them to the playoffs in their first year. This is Indiana. It's like saying the Penn State's basketball team is going to be in the Sweet 16 next year. Think about that. That's crazy what he had done. He had a ton of support at Indiana that no one really talks about. Buccignati brings that up and says there's a lot of disgruntled Indiana people who are mad about their basketball program and made the commitment to the football program. So Cignetti has done a great job of getting guys that are not 4- and 5-star guys and making them perform, letting them perform, paying them, and then they go out and they can restock. So I would not be upset with that pick. I got a couple dark horses out there. My one big dark horse is the guy I coach with it from the University of Memphis, and Ryan Silverfield. You want a young guy who's going to come in here, and he's 6-0, right, 5-0 right now. He's probably going to make the playoffs because they're going to win out most likely. Most likely could be probably undefeated, making it into the playoffs this year. He's a young guy. He's hungry. And the thing I know about him is he is selfless. It will not be about him. It will not be about him. It'll be about the team. And I love that fact about him. So also I've known Ryan for a long time. I coached with him back in 20-some years ago. So there's a little piece of my heart. And I got another guy came in here today when I was eating lunch. And he said there's this guy, Chesney, who replaced Cignetti at JMU. Yes. And he is doing a hell of a job. He said he was at Salve Regina, then he was at Immaculata, and then he went to somewhere else before he went to JMU, took Cignetti's job. Think about this. Cignetti took all of his star players to Indiana. And this guy is at JMU winning ball games down there. So there's that. I'll remember the name because he said Bobby Chesney, and I was like, Kenny Chesney. I didn't know that, but I just remember the name Chesney. So so that's like a list of the guys right there. I'm sure I missed a couple. Any of the, Al Golden. Al Golden is another one of those guys. I don't know if Al is built for the college world. I think Al was at Notre Dame last year as the DC. He went back to the NFL to be a DC of the Cincinnati Bengals. They're having a horrible year. But I think that Al has that NFL head coach in his mind, personally. That's just my personal opinion. I played with Al. And I would be okay with what I listened to yesterday with Terry Smalls. He got me, he got me a little bit fired up. I'm going to say it. But I want to see what Terry can do with this team for the next 6 weeks, 6 games. I want to see how this goes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that big splash hire, but he has the talent here to turn this thing around real quick and have a hell of a season, and I think he can get good consideration for that. And if it's not here, then he's auditioning for another head coaching job somewhere. So they're my guys.
Potentially. I don't know if he – I wonder how – I think he would love the head coaching job here.
Sure.
I'm not sure that his desire is to be a head coach per se. I mean, I feel like if that was his desire, just to be a college football head coach, that would have happened by now. I think
some MAC school type of thing is what you're saying.
Somewhere. Not even with his recruiting track record. I mean, he could have. I think if he wanted, at least, and maybe he did. Maybe he's talked to mid-level Power 4 schools. I don't know that one way or the other. But anyways. Manny Diaz is a name that I keep seeing people say, well, he already had his shot as a head coach. Okay, well, again, not to go to the well too many times, but you do know Nick Saban wasn't wildly successful out of the gate, right? Like, presumably, these guys learn from the process. And again, every situation's a little different. Bill Belichick, for some reason, Goon, he was not wildly successful when he was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Why could that possibly be? So, Miami's successful now. Okay. Again, a lot of things need to come together. So I would not be nearly as quick to roll somebody out because it didn't work somewhere along the way. Yep. Again, having that head coaching experience and then the success that he has had since. And listen, he's doing a good job at Duke. I'm not sure what the ceiling is there at Duke, but I would not be unhappy with Manny Diaz. Again, a lot of things that we don't know in terms of, all right, what would his vision be if he meets and gets together with Pat Kraft on the overall program and how he would handle things. But I think the experience he has and the familiarity now with Penn State, I think you could do a lot worse. So the first call I would make is Curt Cignetti. And I know there are some folks that are like, I don't know about the culture, the age thing. And I initially had some reservation on the age thing, but the more I've thought about that, Goon, I think very few coaches are going to be at any program for more than 10 years. Just if they are wildly successful, it is generational money now that these guys are earning. It is, again, and we talked about it, you are in a pressure cooker and you are having to deal with and oversee 20 different companies within your company. Like, you need to be a football coach, obviously, but you also need to be dealing with the press. You better be able to deal with the big money boosters and line that up. You better have an understanding of what the business relationship is with your players and the NIL. Yep. And so, you're keeping track of all of that. You're getting paid handsomely. But again, after 10 years of being paid handsomely and being in that pressure cooker, I think for a lot of these guys, you know what? TV announcing sounds pretty good. Or, going into the high school ranks and banking the 50 million plus I've made here. That sounds pretty good.
I just want one of those buyouts. I don't want to
How
coach.
about
Give
it?
me those freaking buyouts. Hey, what is Signetti's buyout? Somebody had mentioned that
yeah, I
he
did
has
see
some
that
kind of clause because he is a Pittsburgh kid.
Yeah,
guy.
Yes. So
there is.
Yeah,
I
I don't have the details on that, but it was
there's some kind of clause like Matt Rule has with the Penn State thing.
So to me, Signetti would be the first call.
Because
I would
he's a
make.
proven commodity doing this.
Yes, and I think if he is getting Indiana to the playoffs
Buddy, I get
in
it.
back-to-back years, I mean, it is hard
it's
to.
the same as Penn State going to the Elite Eight.
Again, I just got done saying there's no such thing as a sure thing, and I truly believe that. And do I think it's an absolute guarantee that if Signetti comes in, Penn State wins national titles or even gets to the Final Four? I don't. But do I like the chances? I sure do. If you're coming in and getting Indiana, and listen, he upgraded I with the transfer portal, and there's been a commitment out there and all of that. I get it. It's not like what is set up here. It's not even close yet. Now getting closer. And again, it's not. I understand they are pouring a lot of money into that Indiana program. He is doing a lot of great things. It's still, from a program standpoint, it's not what he will have at his disposal here in Happy Valley. And yeah, the Pennsylvania ties and all of that. And listen, if it's a 5-year run and they get to 2 Final Fours, to be honest with you, I'm saying that's a good run. So
now, is there some kind of like Marcellus Shale under Indiana where this money has come from?
Well,
where is this commitment of money coming from Indiana?
John Cougar Mellencamp was a big chunk of it, but it's a lot of different money people that were in with basketball, as you alluded to earlier, and they're like, let's see if we can get this thing going. So, Signetti, to me, obviously, they have to be calling him, right? Like that's a no-brainer, at least getting a feel, hey, is this a chance?
Well, what's he going to what's his contract going to be like going forward? Like,
but again, I don't think money, and we can argue about whether I just don't think money is an objective or anything that's going to prohibit anything from. I think Pat Kraft is going to figure out what he needs to do to make whoever he wants to be the head coach on the financial front. I think they will get that worked out. I'm not saying absolutely anything or that there's something that would prohibit it, but I don't think what a Signetti or a Diaz or a Rule would be asking, and it would be a lot to get them to leave their current positions. I understand it, but to me, those are the three.
There's another one out there
for me, and then Joe Brady keeps coming up. Oh, is that? And I do think
it's worth a call.
Yeah, and I think it's a really intriguing possibility on a number of different fronts. I don't know how interested he would be, again, because of everything involved at the as being a college head coach. But man, does that guy just seems to have the it factor. And
it's not on his bio, by the way. It's not on his Wikipedia, but he was a grad assistant here under Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
It was not on his Wikipedia.
Okay.
It was just his coaching started at like LSU, and he bumped up from there type of thing. So it does say that he has his master's is from Penn State, but it doesn't say he was a coach here because he really was. He was a graduate assistant here. So he does have a tie here.
Yep.
His current boss has a pretty big tie to here.
Pretty substantial.
So there was a rumor out there that, and I don't know if this is true. I just take this for what it is. Who paid the buyout? That is the big one. That is the big question.
What is the actual buyout?
What is the actual buyout? Who
also
produced it? Was there a one person saying, okay, and that would be, that name we're going to say, who is Joe Brady's boss right now? And there is that rumor that, okay, Pegula is going to take the buyout, buy the buyout, and put who he wants there, and that being Joe Brady in that position as the head coach. And that was rumored and this and that. So, again, it is all 100 hypothetically rumored, speculated. I don't know any kind of truth to it. It's just what I have heard. I'm sure everybody who's listening right now has probably heard a lot of the same things that we're repeating. So,
yep. Throw another couple of names into the hopper after we take this time out. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox, and we are coming right back.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months and get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too, and their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get too quick to steak and lose.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get too quick to steak and lose.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox, State College, the Goon, and Ironhead.
And back here on a Tuesday afternoon with one final segment. Talking Penn State football for some reason this week.
Yeah, what's going on there, bud? I mean, jeez.
So there are a couple of things that are also, I just think, fascinating to watch here because of the timing of this thing. And that is
The timing of the hire or the firing?
The firing.
Okay.
Because that makes the timing of the hiring very tricky now. Because if it is a Matt Rule or a Manny Diaz, it seems very unlikely that they want that publicly disclosed until the end of the season. it also feels very unlikely that if there is a deal struck, that won't get out and will cause problems for the coaches at whatever program Penn State ends up hiring
I was trying to
from.
explain to Landon. And the thing with Landon is he's just such a young puppy. It's great, like my little man. But I said, wait till they start tracking planes.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
goes, what the hell are you talking about? I said, dude, trust me.
Yeah.
Wait till they start tracking planes and see the Penn State-owned plane. It's going to be in Indiana or in Nebraska. And then Manny Diaz. And I mean, it's like, oh, it's and then the whole world just starts going off. He laughed at that. He goes, wow, I don't know if I want to. I'm look forward to that or no.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, if there's a Penn State plane in Omaha, Nebraska, he's meeting Matt Rule. Pat is meeting Matt Rule. So then Nebraska fans are going to pick that up, and Penn State fans are going to pick that up. Nebraska fans are going to say, what the hell are you doing, Matt? You know what I mean? Their fan base is going to get mad.
Or maybe that's just where Dan Lanning goes to meet them,
Jeff,
to throw them off the trail.
Don't tell the secrets.
So, yeah, it is. It's just going to be fascinating to see. And, when does the announcement get made? When does the deal actually get struck? And we may never actually know that. I suspect that'll come out at some point. But, and then when is it announced? And is it possible that you could have somebody jump ship? More like, I don't think, like, not a Matt Rule or a Manny Diaz, but like, could a Joe Brady say, you know what, I'm in. We'll get this worked out with the Bills, and I'll be around the program. Like, again, depending on what route you go. Again, in some cases, that's not. I don't think that's going to be an option. I guess, who knows, the landscape we're in, and I guess I don't rule anything out. I don't think a current head coach in the college ranks is going to leave mid-season and
say, hey, I'm
like, that's a pretty. I'm not sure if you'd want a guy that does that as the head coach of your team.
I mean, you get about 2 months to make the decision. About Thanksgiving weekend is the last weekend of the season. Then it goes into the playoffs. So, I mean, you're usually making your decisions by then.
But this is the other question.
The NFL thing with Bill was doing his recruiting after Patriots games.
Yeah.
And when he went to the Super Bowl, he spent a week at Penn State doing the recruiting, doing the welcome and this and that. But he was doing the work of two men. Two jobs, and that's crazy when you think about it. But our guy does Joe Brady want to do that as the OC? Still stay on the Buffalo Bills and take over the Penn State football job.
Well,
he can join after the Super Bowl.
This is the other thing, and I don't know, like, if there is an agreement reached. I don't know enough about how these things work, to be honest with you. So maybe there is kind of normal protocol here, but like, if Pat Kraft, let's just say, just hypothetically, that, like, man, Matt Rule is the guy we want, and Matt Rule answers the phone and says, yes, man, let's make this happen. And they're like, just, we need to wait till after the season. And Terry Smith has recruits calling him and saying, man, what do you know? Like, at what point do Pat Kraft and Terry Smith, listen, recruit, we need you to keep this secret? Because at some point, one of these recruits is not keeping it secret. Like, so you can't, like, if you're Matt Rule, do you say, listen, I will, but if this gets out, I'm out? Or I don't know enough about how that stuff works, because like, how hard is it going to be to coach your team and get them to buy in if word gets out that you're leaving? But even if it doesn't get out, like, that's also the timing of this, again, to me, makes it tricky. Like, if you're Matt Rule, you're trying to get Nebraska to a national championship, but if now you're taking the Penn State job, are you really trying to get Nebraska? I mean, I think you are as far as it goes, but you're also, like, part of your mind has to be then computing, all right, well, This guy, though, I'm hoping I can get with me at Penn State. I want to take this guy. This guy I'll be glad to leave behind. Like, so, yeah, I mean, I think he'll be doing his best to keep the team focused and to keep his focus. But come on, if you know you're taking another job.
Les Miles at LSU.
Yeah.
Remember what happened there? Freaking Kirk Herbstreit announced it that he's taking the job.
Yeah.
Before the national title game. And he has to come out and say, I'm not taking that job. I'm coaching my team to a national title, and had to decline the job. He was going to go to Michigan, but he makes the freaking announcement. I mean, you got to watch that. Yeah, but you're right. So what is method?
But that's tricky stuff.
It is, yeah. I mean, Pat's got to get on this right now. I mean, Pat's got to sit there and say, okay,
and you want to
have
be
to worry
telling
about this recruiting class. We need some kind of stability here. Holy crap, man.
But,
Again,
but how do you handle it? Because you can't be like, well, there's a pretty good chance that, not saying anything, but Dan Lanning's probably coming. Like, I mean, you can't, like, you either got to say or just say, hey, trust us, we have a good guy coming in, and we'll make the announcement as soon as the season's over. But that's the other thing, is if you get an agreement in place, even if you're not telling anybody, like Coach and Pat Kraft are the only people that know. Well, if Nebraska is getting to the semifinals of the playoffs, like, you're going to start to, there's no announcement. There's no announcement.
What's going on?
Well, it's probably now, I don't know. I'll throw in a couple of wild cards too. I said we'd throw in some other names. Brent Key to me is really intriguing. The Georgia Tech head coach. That offense, that offense is really exciting.
I saw that name and I was like, I love this.
Now, what I don't know, and I think he's, and this is the thing, the world we're living in. I think he's only, I'm doing air quotes on the video. I think he's only getting like $3.5 million a year, like basically half of what the big. So while I think he's been pretty much in the South his entire coaching career, maybe for his entire coaching career, and I think he's an Alabama kid, like a high school. I think he's been in the South pretty much his entire life. Does he have any desire, one, to come up north, even if it is to a big-time program? And Penn State, to go back to the, how good of a job is Penn State?
Better than Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is clearly one of the top 10. And again, media and fans
with what we have going on right now with the stadium renovation.
Correct.
And
that's
all
what
the
I'm
business,
saying.
the
Right now,
facility upgrades. We're not competing. There's 7 or 8 teams that are they're in a different stratosphere, but we are in that second tier when it comes to facilities and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think probably pretty close to the top of that second tier.
Absolutely.
Now, so
if not the leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah. So
no pun intended.
So I think. But again, I don't know what it is that drives Brent. Like, I think sometimes we think, well, yeah, you can double your money. Well, if you're really happy, and I have no idea how happy Brent, but I mean, if you've got a good family situation, you're like, man, we're winning, and they're all in on me, and I don't have the pressure to go win a national title. They're thrilled that I'm getting anywhere near the playoffs. Like, I do think you have to weigh all of that in, and I don't think for a lot of people it's just about the money. Now, no matter how good of money you're making, somebody comes along and says, well, I'm going to more than double what you're making. I think you're listening at the very least, right? And you're yeah, maybe I never really thought about trying to coach up north, but yeah, this does sound kind of intriguing.
O-lineman or O-lineman, north or south, in my opinion.
So
he's a mutant O-lineman. I watched him beat Florida State in the Ireland game, and it was great listening to him talk after the game. He's just like, talking about toughness, running the football.
Yeah,
we're going to out-tough them and this and that. It was music to my ears.
Yeah, and he did a great job at Central Florida. I mean, he is a really good football coach, and I think he's in his like mid to late 40s, which
old.
I and again, I think, I think anybody, no matter the age, if you can get 10 years in this climate at one school, you're like, cool, we'll take it. And then again, if they're having success, you become a prime destination. And even if you don't have success, again, Penn State certainly is going to be one of the top 20 jobs in college football for the foreseeable future. Yeah, again, it depends. Oregon is a better job than Penn State, sad to say.
Take Phil Knight out of the equation, is it?
Yeah. Again, you can, for some people, and I suspect for Dan Lanning, probably it is. I don't know that any job is definitively better or worse. It depends on how you're defining it. In terms of money and resources, is Ohio State maybe the best job? Yep. Also, Ryan Day won a national title, and there's about a third of the fan base that wants him out. So now, again, for the money you're making and all of that, maybe you say that's worth it. I don't know.
Ask me if I like Oregon, and I'm going to sit there and say, as a player, when everybody's more worried about the freaking uniforms and going out and playing football, that would drive me. It would make me sick. And I know kids are different. I get it, but that would make me like.
Well, again,
every place has their little.
Yeah, there's different things that different coaches are looking for.
I like Lanning, though. I really do.
Oh, I do too, and I think it's worth a phone call. And I think the offensive coordinator will Stein. Thank you. I almost said Fries, and I'm like, I know that definitely is not right. I mean, I think he's worth a phone call. Certainly, if Lanning isn't interested. Again, there's a lot of, and there's some other names that I'm sure nobody is throwing out there.
Missouri.
Yeah, he's getting
Nikovitz.
Yes,
like that.
He's getting a lot of attention, and maybe he brings Bo Pabrilla back with him next year.
That's the funny part. Like, what the hell just happened here?
Who knows? So, and I do think there's probably some other folks that will rightfully garner attention from Pat Kraft, and I suspect there's going to be a bunch reaching out to him to say, hey, I might be interested. And there might be some wild cards out there that nobody, and I mean, we're seeing a lot of people with a lot of lists.
Oh, yeah.
I suspect there's some people that none of us are thinking of that will at least draw some consideration.
A little better hiring process than the Bill O'Brien process right now with what was going down then. Think about that.
Yeah, I think it's a better job opportunity now than it was. Back at that time.
Holy crap, man.
Again, for me, and I'm just speaking for me, Kurt Signetti feels like it would be the grand slam home run.
I named 8 guys, and I'm okay with them all. I'm okay with Terry, Matt, Silverfield, Signetti. Do I think we can get an Urban Meyer and a Saban? No, I think it's not happening. But like you said, it's a phone call, this and that.
And honestly, I'm honestly not even sure if they did want to come that I would automatically say, all right, Nick Saban, yes, we're taking
Name it what you want. I don't think it's going to happen.
Because I think you've got to really get a feel for, all right, is he going to be on board? And again, that's why I think he might take the phone call and say no thanks and be done with it. And I think the same thing with Urban Meyer. But it is a different world that we're living in than when they were having their success. And I just don't know that even if they wanted to, that they would be able to duplicate the type of success they had previously.
And I do want to say this. Pat Kraft has 1,000% of my backing. I trust in everything Pat does. And everything he's done since he's been here, I have been absolutely behind, and I'm behind him 100%. If he goes out there and says, this is,
and listen,
Joey Snickerdoodle here, he's our new head, then I'm going to be a Joey Snickerdoodle fan.
Yeah, the pressure is going to be on both whoever he hires and Pat Kraft for this football program. I've been saying 5 years, just the world we're living in now. It used to be, we used to argue on the show that anybody deserved at least 5 years to get their recruits in, and we would debate 5 or 6 years. Yep. Goon, in the world we're in now, if if they don't win a national title, and I'm not saying I'm an advocate of this or a proponent of this, but I don't see if they don't win a national title. Now, there's like if they're in the Final Four 4 of the 5 years and they're in the championship game twice and they're both nail biters. I mean, yes, can I see a scenario where like, okay, we didn't win the national title, but we're going to go ahead and keep the guy? Yes, but I think basically if Penn State doesn't win a national title with whoever this hire is within 5 years, I think it's very likely they move on. And
if
I think there's going to be a lot of folks
where we want it to be.
Well,
you know what I mean? If like Pat said about the analytics and the where the program was going and where it was at and stuff like that, the trajectory of it. If he sees that in 5 years of the new coach coming in and it's still going up, he'd be okay. But if he sees it's not going up and it's stag, he'll do the James Franklin, get rid of him.
Well, where is it going up if they're not winning a national title? They were in the Final Four last. I'm not
That's
seeing...
a bizarre team we don't know about. We don't know who the hell that team was. Somebody showed up. I mean,
but I'm saying I don't see... Again, could I construct a scenario where, you're still okay with it? But
but the guy comes in here and
I think it pretty much is.
He loses everybody. Everybody leaves. All the players.
But see, if that happens, I think that's right away a pretty good indication that, this was not the guy that we should have hired. Pat talked about it. But like part of what they're looking for is you've got to keep and bring in elite talent. Well, if you're going to lose some guys, but I mean, if they have 90% defections, like to me, yes, on one hand, you're like, all right, well, you got to give them some time now. Well, sometime, I mean, Kurt Signetti came in and in 1 year with one transfer portal class, got that program to the
JMU.
Yes, it got that program to the playoffs. And now, again, we'll see how this season plays out. But I mean, that to me is
pretty good.
Is the kind of standard. And so, like to your point, I mean, you're moving in the right direction. But if they're not in the playoffs either of the next 2 years, like that's not like you're not hiring a guy to, man, I hope in 3 or 4 years you can get us to the playoff. You're hiring a guy with the idea we got to be in the playoffs next year and we got to be competing for a national title within the next 2 or 3.
We bring a guy
like that's why you're bringing that's why you're making this move of getting rid of James Franklin. You're not bringing in somebody that, man, I really hope we can get back to the Final Four in your 5th year. That's you're not making this move with that being the idea.
I was thinking about ruling, but I mean, people who say they have the same record, why don't you just keep James Franklin? What the hell was Matt Rule ranked when he was playing the top 5 and top 10 teams? Not as high as Penn State.
That's another.
Yeah. No, it is what it is. Good show, Ironhead.
Yeah. Well, it was a show anyway.
We both have laryngitis because we didn't shut up about the whole 2 hours.
We will be back Thursday. Until then, be good and be safe.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors. People invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
Your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox.